Could you help me? Would you like some coffee? Should I take this job? 3 sentences, 3 words. But most English learners use them wrong every single day. Today, Sophie and Liam are going to fix that forever. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly when to say could, when to say would, and when to say should. And you will never confuse them again. Stay with us. This one will change the way you speak English.
Floating topic bubbles.
Grammar, fluency, speaking, listening.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Speak English with Learn, the podcast that helps you speak real, natural English every single day. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Liam. Good morning to all of you listening from the United States, the United Kingdom, Europe, Japan, Korea, China, and every beautiful part of the world. We are so happy you chose to spend your time with us today.
Today's episode is one I have personally been looking forward to for a long time, Liam, because today we are talking about modal verbs.
Modal verbs, specifically could, would, and should.
3 little words that appear in English conversations every single day, in every country, in every situation.
And yet they cause so much confusion. I have met English learners from Japan, Korea, France, Germany, Brazil, and almost everyone says the same thing.
What do they say?
They say, I know could, would, and should, but I never know which one to use.
That is so relatable. Even advanced learners sometimes pause and think, wait, should I say could or would here?
And the pause costs them. Because in a real conversation, in a job interview, at a coffee shop, on a business call, you don't have time to think for 10 seconds about which modal to use.
So today we are going to make it automatic, natural, easy.
By the end of this episode, you will understand the logic behind each word. And logic, once you understand it, never leaves you.
That is such a good point. Grammar rules that you memorize can be forgotten. But logic that you understand, that stays with you forever.
Forever is a strong word, Sophie.
Then let's say for a very, very long time.
I can agree with that. Now, before we dive in, let's understand what a modal verb actually is. Because some of our listeners might be thinking, what is a modal? I have heard this word, but I'm not sure exactly what it means.
Great question. A modal verb is a special type of helping verb. It goes before the main verb in a sentence and it changes the meaning of that sentence in a very specific way.
Can you give a quick example?
Of course. Take the verb go. If I say I go to school, that is a simple fact. But if I say I should go to school, now there is a sense of obligation, of duty. If I say I could go to school, now there is ability or possibility. If I say I would go to school, now there is a condition. Something else needs to happen first.
So the modal verb completely changes the feeling of the sentence, the meaning.
Exactly. Same verb, go. 3 completely different meanings depending on which modal we use.
That is actually quite amazing when you think about it. One small word changes everything.
That is the power of modal verbs. And that is why understanding them deeply is so important for speaking natural, fluent English.
All right, let's start with the first one. Could. C-O-U-L-D.
Could. Now, Most learners know that could is the past tense of can. And that is true. But could does so much more than just talk about the past.
Let's break it down. Could has three main uses. Use number one, ability in the past.
Yes, when we talk about something we were able to do in the past, we use could. For example, when I was young, I could run very fast.
When I was young, I could run very fast. That means in the past, I had the ability, but maybe now I cannot run so fast anymore.
That is very relatable, Liam.
A little too relatable. Another example. She could speak 3 languages before she was 10 years old.
Beautiful. She could speak 3 languages. Past ability. She had that skill as a child.
Now, in Japanese, there is a concept of expressing ability with potential verb forms. In English, could carries that same energy. It describes a capacity, a skill, a power that existed at a specific time.
And in Korean grammar, expressing past ability has its own structure too. But in English, one simple word, could, carries all of that meaning.
Efficient. I love it. Now, use number 2 for could. Possibility.
This is where could becomes incredibly useful in everyday conversation. When something is possible, not certain, not guaranteed, but possible, we use could.
Example?
It could rain tomorrow. I don't know for certain, but it is possible.
This could be the best decision of your life. Again, not certain, but possible. There is hope. There is a chance.
In the UK especially, could for possibility is used all the time in polite, tentative conversation. British speakers love to express things as possibilities rather than certainties. It feels more polite, less aggressive.
That is so interesting. In American English, people are sometimes more direct, but could still shows up constantly. This could work. That could be a problem.
Could softens the sentence. It takes away the harshness of certainty.
And use number 3 for could. Making polite requests.
This is the one that learners need most in daily life. When you want to ask for something politely, especially from a stranger, a colleague, someone you respect, you use could.
Could you please pass the salt?
Could you help me with this?
Could I speak with the manager, please?
These are all polite requests. Notice, we could also say, can you pass the salt? But could is more polite, more formal, more respectful.
In Japan and Korea, where politeness and respect in language are extremely important in daily life, learning the exact level of politeness in English requests is very valuable.
Absolutely. And could is your friend for that. When in doubt, use could for requests. It will almost always be the right level of politeness.
Let me give our listeners a quick memory trick for could. Think of the word could as standing for can in the past, options, possibility, understood, polite requests.
That is creative, Liam. Did you just make that up?
I absolutely just made that up, but I think it works.
You know what? I think it does work. Listeners, remember, could, past ability, possibility, and polite requests.
Perfect. Now, let's move to our second modal, Would. W-O-U-L-D.
Would. This is perhaps the most versatile modal in English. It shows up everywhere in polite speech, in stories, in conditions, in habits from the past.
Let's start with the most well-known use. Conditional sentences. The if sentences.
Yes, this is where most grammar books introduce would, and it is truly important. When we talk about something that would happen if something else were true, we use would.
If I had more time, I would learn Japanese.
If she studied harder, she would pass the exam.
If we lived in Paris, life would be very romantic.
Very romantic indeed. Now notice the structure. If plus the past tense verb and then would plus the base verb.
If I had more time, I would learn. The had is past tense, but we are not talking about the past. We are talking about an imaginary present or future situation.
This is called the second conditional in English grammar, and it is used constantly in real conversations.
Constantly. In the US, you hear it all the time. If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. If I were the president, I would change this law.
In Europe, in France, Germany, Spain, these kinds of hypothetical conversations are a big part of intellectual and social discussion. And would carries all of that hypothetical energy in English.
Beautiful. Now, use number 2 for would. Polite offers and requests.
Just like could makes requests more polite, would does the same. In fact, would is often considered even more formal than could in certain situations.
Would you like some tea?
Would you mind closing the window?
Would it be possible to reschedule our meeting?
These are all extremely polite professional phrases. In a business setting, in the UK, in Japan, in any formal context, these sentences are gold.
Would you like is especially important. It is the standard English way of offering something to someone. Would you like coffee or tea?
In a restaurant, in a meeting, in someone's home, you will hear would you like constantly. And knowing how to respond is equally important.
Yes, I would love some coffee, thank you. Or, no thank you, I'm fine.
I would love some. That is such a warm, enthusiastic acceptance. Very natural, very English.
Use number 3 for would. Talking about past habits or repeated actions.
Oh, this is a lovely use of would that many learners don't know about. When we want to describe something we used to do regularly in the past, we can use would.
For example, when I was a child, I would wake up early every Saturday and watch cartoons.
Every summer, we would visit my grandmother in the countryside.
After school, she would stop at the bakery and buy fresh bread.
Notice this is similar to used to. You can often say used to in the same place. We used to visit my grandmother. But would gives the sentence a warmer, more storytelling quality.
More nostalgic, more poetic.
Exactly. In literature, in storytelling, in memoir writing, would for past habits creates a beautiful rhythm. Every evening, he would sit by the window and watch the sun go down.
That is genuinely beautiful. I can picture it.
Language is so powerful. One word would. And suddenly there is warmth, memory, nostalgia.
In Chinese literary culture, there is a deep appreciation for nostalgic storytelling, for capturing the feeling of the past. Would, in English, carries that same emotional weight when used for past habits.
Perfectly said, Liam. Now, before we move to should, let's make sure we are clear on the difference between could and would in polite requests. Because this is where learners sometimes get confused.
Yes! Could you help me? And would you help me? Both are polite. What is the difference?
The difference is subtle but real. Could you focuses on the person's ability. Are you able to help me? Would you focuses on the person's willingness. Are you willing to help me?
So, could you help me is asking, is it possible for you to help? And would you help me is asking, are you willing to help?
In practice, both are perfectly polite and both are used constantly. But would you feels slightly more personal, more direct, more of a genuine request.
Could you feels a tiny bit softer, a tiny bit more indirect.
And in many situations, especially in British and Japanese communication styles, indirect is actually preferred. Softer is more polite.
Fascinating. Language reflects culture so deeply.
It really does. Okay, are we ready for the third and final modal of today's episode?
Should. SHOULD.
Should. This is the one that carries the most emotional weight, I think. Because should is about right and wrong, about duty, about advice, about conscience.
That is a big statement, Sophie.
It is. Think about it. When you say you should to someone, you are telling them that in your opinion, this is the right thing to do.
You should apologize to her.
You should eat more vegetables.
You should apply for that job.
All of these sentences carry a sense of this is the right action. This is what is good. This is what I believe you ought to do.
Ought to. That is actually a synonym of should, right?
Yes, you ought to apologize and you should apologize mean almost exactly the same thing. Ought to is slightly more formal, more old fashioned, but should is the word you will hear in everyday English.
Use number 1 for should, giving advice.
This is probably the most common use. When a friend comes to you with a problem, when someone asks you what they should do, you give advice with should.
I have a terrible headache. What should I do? You should drink water and rest.
I'm nervous about my job interview. You should prepare some examples of your past work, and you should arrive 5 minutes early.
Practical, helpful, direct. Should for advice is one of the most useful structures in everyday English conversation.
In American culture, giving direct advice with should is very common and perfectly acceptable between friends. You should try this restaurant. You should watch that show.
In British culture, advice is sometimes given more gently. You might want to consider, or perhaps you should think about. The should is still there, but wrapped in softer language.
And in East Asian cultures, in Japan and Korea especially, advice between friends can be given more indirectly. But in English communication, even in international business settings, should is the expected professional way to give clear recommendations.
We should schedule a follow-up meeting. You should review the contract before signing. They should be informed about the changes.
Clear, professional, respectful. Should in business English is extremely important.
Use number 2 for should, expressing obligation or expectation.
When something is expected, when it is someone's duty or responsibility, we use should.
Students should arrive on time.
Employees should follow the company's code of conduct.
A good leader should listen to their team.
These sentences describe expectations. What is considered the right behavior, the correct standard.
And notice, should for obligation is softer than must. You must arrive on time is very strong, almost like a rule or a law. You should arrive on time is still serious, but it leaves a little more room. It is more of a strong recommendation.
Must is the wall. Should is the door. Both are telling you the right direction, but should is less forceful.
I love that image, the wall and the door.
Write that down, listeners. Must is the wall, should is the door.
Use number 3 for should, expressing logical expectation or probability.
This one is slightly more advanced, but very useful. When we expect something to be true based on logic or evidence, we can use should.
The package was sent yesterday. It should arrive today.
She has been practicing for months. She should do very well in the competition.
If you leave now, you should make it to the airport in time.
In all of these sentences, should means I expect this to be true based on what I know. It is logical probability, not certainty, but strong expectation.
And this use of should is very common in British English especially. That should be fine. It should work. He should be here by now.
He should be here by now. That sentence, oh, it carries so much. There is expectation, maybe a little worry, maybe a little impatience.
Language is so emotional, Sophie. Even grammar carries feeling.
That is exactly right. And that is why learning grammar through real conversation, through real stories and situations is so much more powerful than just memorizing rules.
Now, let's talk about a very important distinction. The difference between should and would when giving advice.
Oh yes, this confuses many learners. You should do this versus I would do this.
Can you explain the difference?
You should do this is direct advice. You are telling the other person what is right for them. I would do this is more like sharing your personal perspective. What you would do if you were in their position.
So, you should apply for the job means this is the right thing. I recommend it. And I would apply for the job means if I were you, in your situation, this is what I would personally choose.
I would is gentler, more empathetic. You are putting yourself in their shoes.
In counseling, in coaching, in friendly advice conversations, I would is often more welcomed than you should because it is less prescriptive, less like a command.
But in clear professional or educational context, you should is perfectly appropriate and very effective.
So the rule is know your relationship with the person and know the context.
Exactly. Language is always about relationship and context.
Sophie, I want to do something fun. Let's do a quick situational practice. I will describe a situation and you give me the perfect sentence using could, would, or should.
I love this. Let's do it.
Situation 1. You are in a meeting in London. You want to ask your colleague to send you the report politely.
Could you send me the report when you have a moment?
Perfect. Could you? Polite request. Very professional, very British.
Your turn, Liam. Situation 2. Your friend in Tokyo is stressed about a big exam tomorrow. They ask, "What do I do?" What do you say?
You should review your notes tonight, sleep early, and eat a good breakfast in the morning. I know you can do this.
Wonderful. Should for advice. Practical, supportive, encouraging.
Situation 3. You are on a call with a client in New York. They ask if your team can deliver the project by Friday. You are not certain, but it is possible.
That could work. Let me check with my team and confirm by this afternoon.
Excellent. That could work. Possibility, professional, honest, not overpromising.
Situation 4. You are telling a story about your childhood in Seoul. Every Sunday, your family had a special tradition.
Every Sunday, we would go to my grandparents' house. My grandmother would cook a big meal, and we would all sit together and talk for hours.
Beautiful. Wood for past habits. Nostalgic, warm, full of story.
And situation 5. You sent an important email to a colleague in Paris this morning. Your boss asks if they have responded yet.
They should have received it by now. I'll follow up if I don't hear back by noon.
Perfect. Should have received. Logical expectation based on what we know.
See, listeners, could, would, and should. Each one with its own clear purpose, its own feeling, its own job in the sentence.
And when you practice them in real situations like this, they become automatic. They stop being grammar rules. They become part of how you think.
That is the goal. Not grammar that you know, grammar that you feel.
Grammar that you feel. I love that, Sophie.
Now, let's talk about some common mistakes. Because learning what not to do is just as important as learning what to do.
Common mistake number 1. Using should when you mean could in polite requests.
For example, a learner might say, "Should you help me with this?" That sounds strange. It sounds like you are questioning whether it is the other person's duty to help.
Instead, you want, could you help me with this? Or would you help me with this?
Should you for requests almost never sounds natural. Save should for advice and obligation.
Common mistake number 2. Forgetting that would needs a condition, either spoken or implied.
Learners sometimes say, "I would go to the gym." And the listener thinks, "Okay, but when? Under what condition?"
The sentence needs something more. I would go to the gym if I had more energy. Or, I would go to the gym, but I have a meeting.
The but and the if are partners of would. They show the condition, the reason why the thing hasn't happened yet.
Common mistake number 3. Using could when you mean should in advice.
This is very common. A learner might say, "You could apologize to her." Technically, that is not wrong, but it is very weak advice.
You could apologize sounds like, maybe, if you feel like it, one option among many.
But you should apologize is clear. It is the right thing to do. It is a proper recommendation.
So could for advice is too weak. Should for advice is strong and clear. Use should when you genuinely believe something is the right thing to do.
Unless you want to soften the advice. If you want to suggest something gently without pressure, you could try this is perfect. You could consider this option.
So it depends on how strong you want the advice to feel.
Exactly. Could for soft suggestions. Should for clear recommendations.
This is so nuanced. And this is why English is such a fascinating language.
And such a rewarding one. Because every time you learn one of these nuances, you sound a little more natural, a little more fluent.
A little more like a native speaker.
Step by step.
Sophie, let's do one more thing before we wrap up. Let's go through the key sentences of today's episode one more time. A quick review.
Perfect. Could. 3 uses. When I was young, I could swim very well. Past ability. It could snow tomorrow. Possibility. Could you please open the door? Polite request.
Would. 3 uses. If I had more money, I would travel the world. Conditional. Would you like some water? Polite offer. Every evening, she would read before bed. Past habit.
Should. 3 uses. You should drink more water. Advice. Employees should respect their colleagues. Obligation, expectation. The train should arrive in 10 minutes. Logical expectation.
9 sentences, 9 uses. And now, they are yours.
Practice each one today. Use them in a real situation. Write them in a comment or say them out loud to yourself.
Because speaking out loud, even alone, builds the muscle memory. It trains your brain to produce the language without thinking.
And that is when language becomes truly yours, when it flows without effort.
We have a task for you today, listeners. In the comments below, write 1 sentence using could, 1 sentence using would, and 1 sentence using should.
About your real life. Tell us something real. I could speak 2 languages when I was young. I would travel to Scotland if I had the chance. I should call my parents more often.
Real sentences from real life. That is how language becomes personal. And personal language is language that sticks.
And write the word modals, all capital letters, in the comments to show us you stayed until the end.
We love our community. Every comment, every question, every modals in the comments, it makes our day.
It truly does. We see you, we read your comments, and we are proud of every single one of you for being here, for learning, for trying.
Language learning is not always easy. There are days when it feels slow, when you make mistakes, when the words don't come the way you want them to.
But those days are not failures. They are part of the process. Every mistake is information. Every moment of confusion is the moment right before clarity.
Right before clarity. I have never heard it described that way before, Sophie.
It's true though, isn't it? The confusion comes just before the understanding, like clouds before the sun.
That is genuinely poetic and so true for language learning. You struggle with could, would, should, and then one day it clicks. And after that, it never leaves you.
That is the gift of understanding something deeply, not memorizing, understanding.
So keep going, keep listening, keep practicing. The click is coming.
For all of you in Japan who are learning English alongside Japanese, one of the world's most beautifully complex languages, your dedication inspires us.
For all of you in Korea, studying English while navigating Hangul and the unique structures of Korean, your commitment is extraordinary.
For our listeners in China, learning English with its entirely different grammatical logic from Mandarin, you are doing something genuinely difficult. And you are doing it.
For our friends across Europe, in Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Poland, where English is everywhere but fluency still takes real work, you are building something valuable every single day.
And for everyone in the US and UK listening to sharpen and polish their own English, welcome, always.
This podcast is for everyone who believes that language is connection, that English is a door, not a wall.
And today, you open that door a little wider with could, would, and should.
Don't forget to subscribe to Speak English with Learn so you never miss an episode. And share this with a friend who is learning English, especially anyone who says, I always get confused by modals.
This episode is exactly for them.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep growing, keep connecting.
Good morning, good day, and good English.
See you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.